Hi everyone, my name's Erin, and this is my informal assessment video for PIDP 3230, the evaluation of learning. For this assignment, I chose the goal ranking and matching classroom assessment technique, and some of the key items for using this technique are they're not scored, students can list 3 to 5 goals each, they can rank their goals based on importance, and it is completely anonymous. So, what is the purpose and drive of this goal ranking and matching technique? It's assessing the alignment between the student's learning goals and the course instructional goals. It is also to gauge the alignment between the teachers' and students' rankings of these goals. This technique can allow teachers to help students to identify the difference between personal goals and learning goals. There's also an opportunity for the teacher to update and include some of the students' goals into the course syllabus. I chose this strategy because I believe it helps motivate students when they know that their goals are being reviewed and considered. It's also a great opportunity for me as an instructor to improve my course content if there are goals or content that I may have overlooked. So, some of the advantages of this technique are it allows students to be aware of their own goals and their responsibility of learning. It can allow the instructor to identify if the student's learning goals aligns or overlaps with their teaching goals. By providing this assessment technique, it gets the students involved at the very beginning and aware of the course's aims and goals. The students will get feedback to see if their goals are the same with the instructor, and with that level of expectation can allow the student to make an informed decision about the course. Some of the limitations to this technique can be students may not feel confident in articulating their own goal and will align their goals with the instructor's. The first time that they use this, they may write a goal that could be a vague statement and it could be misinterpreted by the instructor. If the student's goals do not match with the instructor, they may feel discouraged and may drop out of the class because they're not aligned. So, how did I use this with my students? At the beginning of a course that I was teaching focused on quality assurance for work leaders in my department, I shared with my learners 3 instructional goals that I made for this class and let them know at the end of the class will take 10 minutes to allow them to do the same exercise. I had already identified with the goals that I had wrote out which ones I'd be willing to adjust or negotiate based on if the students' goals were really different than mine. I felt this goal ranking and matching technique would be perfect as these students have already completed the Express Connect training program, and I thought that would prevent any vague goals. At the end of the class, I provided the students a note card and same color a pen. I explained to them they don't have to put their name down and that it's not necessary to put goals such as to do well in this course. That's a general goal and everyone wants to succeed. I provided the students 5 minutes to write up their goals, and then once that's done, we started ranking them. I explained to them that if they were only able to choose one goal, that they would put a number 1 to the left of their goal. Once they were done with that, I told them if they were allowed to choose a second goal, write a number 2 to the left of that goal. I continued this on for 5 minutes until everyone was done. I collected the responses and let them know that I was going to review these goals and share to the group if there were common goals and how we were aligned. I also let them know that if there were goals in there that were unable to be covered in the course, that I will try and find that additional resources for them to review independently of the course. After I took the responses from the learners, I started piecing the puzzle together. I felt the best way to keep organized was placing them in columns to first determine if we had any of the same goals. From there, I identified that out of my 4 students and my goals, we actually all had one common goal. This was so exciting. The ranking was a little bit different between number 1 and 2, but it was still great to see that we shared one. Overall, there was roughly 3 goals that were in their own individual columns, and one of them was very specific, and I did not have that covered in my course material. However, it was a future goal of mine to start building something for that. Now that I had organized the goals, I felt most of these were covered in the content material, and the alignment of the ranking was fairly close to everyone. There was a few that had higher importance than what I expected, but I was still happy to know that it was still a priority for them and that we would cover it in that material. I had put together a table chart to show the goals and how many votes and color coded it based on ranking. I shared this with the class the next day, and I took the opportunity to bring up the one goal that was specific and not covered in this material. I mentioned that if the person had put that goal down and they were comfortable, that they could reach out to me to discuss some key items of how did they think of this goal? What were they hoping to get out of it? And let them know that I was going to be building something this in the future, but I was at the investigation stage of building it. The students were really excited to see that as a group, their goals were aligned and there was a sense of conquer at that moment. I was so excited to provide this quality assurance course and I felt that we would be successful. I enjoyed using this method with my students. The information I got from this exercise was that overall there was alignment in the course. I would use this technique again, but only in the instance where the students have completed the training program. I feel that if I offered this to new hires, that there would be a few limitations such as vague goals and the ranking would be a little bit all over the place. It was a good opportunity for me to provide that feedback to that one goal that was not provided in this course content. I wanted to make sure I didn't feel that student make them feel discouraged for sharing that goal. Now, although in this instance everything was covered in the course, I know in the future that might not be the case, and it would be an opportunity for me to look at my course material and see if I can include it or build an entirely new course for that type of content. Thank you for joining me in my informal assessment strategy report.